Hey peeps, Suzanna here today for ThermOWeb, and I'm sharing with you this layout created as a little bit of a snowy surprise with a lovely little snowman down the bottom right there. I have used all sorts of ThermOWeb product. I'm calling it my DecoFoil, all the things, Deco-All-The-Things layout. So to begin with, I am going to just do a tone-on-tone background. I am using some of the white Glitz glitter gel through a Gina Stampin' Stencil, and it is the Wishing You Joy Detail Stencil. My glitter gel is over a year old, or just over, because it's from CHA last year when it was released. So it's dried out a little bit, but it works perfectly. It just is a little, takes a little bit more effort to stencil, or push through the stencil, I should say. So I have already used pixie spray on the back of this stencil. If you don't own pixie spray, go and get you some. You can definitely get it on the ThermOWeb web store, and currently I think it's New Year 10. If you use the code, things are 10% off, but if you don't find it there, you can definitely also get it at Simon's, at other major online retailers. But it is awesome for stenciling if you do mixed media. Like I said, I think I'm using this stencil probably for the 4th time now and have washed it, and I still have lots of good stick to the back of my stencil there. And you don't want to waste any of that, so be sure that you wipe off the extra and then make sure that you go and clean it. So while I set that aside to dry, I'm going to go ahead and work on some of the other elements of my layout. This is a Unity toner card front. This one is called Snow Mini Flakes. I want to use this actually for the backing or a layer on my layout. I am not a card maker, but I use these frequently as layers in my layouts. So I like to run that through twice through my hot laminator. So make sure you pre-warm your laminator, and then make sure that the color side of the foil is out, so away from the black toner sheet. Same thing here with the PeelNStick toner sheets that I'm using. So I'm running some dies through my die cut machine, my manual die cut machine, and then I'm going to run that through the hot laminator as well. And I want these snowflakes to be pink, so I'm going to use some of the Enchanted Rose DecoFoil transfer sheet. I am going to show you actually, so I'm going to put this on not how I normally would. I do like to pull out all of the dies, the cuts, because I feel like I get cleaner cut around those rounded edges of a manual die cut, but some of them were harder to push out, and you'll see me in a minute fighting with one of the snowflakes where the sticker came off, and so it's actually really sticky, and so you'll see that's coming up now. It's actually kind of funny because it's just a little tiny snowflake, and I just see it right there. Can't get it off my finger, can't get it off the tweezer. But so I'm still putting the black side to the non-colored side, so that the colored side will be what is showing when you flip it through. I don't normally do it this way, but because of the stickiness, this was the way that it was going to work best. When I run things through my hot laminator, I like to have the colored side up. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I found that I tend to get better results with these toner sheets, and especially the toner fronts. I get a whole lot less black that tends to show through, which is also why I will run it through a second time. Some people use shims. I don't find that I need to do that. It works out pretty well. So while I am running that through, I am going to just plan out some circles for my snowman. So my snowman is up next. I'm just using plain old white flock transfer sheets, and I am using the white foam adhesive behind them. I like dimension on my layouts, and this white foam adhesive is the perfect amount of lift on a layout. I also like to use the Gina K double-sided adhesive foam tape. I'm using white. It does also come in black. It is the same lift as these foam adhesive sheets, and so if you do create things like I'm going to do out of this snowman with the foam that foam tape is the perfect match to also elevate things with. So I am going to run, I'm actually going to run two, I should have run three of these circles, these gradated circles to create the snowman. Now, if you were really particular, you could go ahead and you could probably trace it and then fussy cut it, but I wanted this to be quick and easy for myself, and so I am literally just going to overlap the circles and it creates a perfect snowman. I mean, if you were outside in the snow building a snowman, that's what you would do, right? You would just stack 3 circles. So that's what I'm doing. I could have cut this with my digital die cut machine, but I opted to just fussy cut it because the amount of time that it took for me to recut the file, it was just as easy for me to fussy cut it. And then that way I didn't have to worry about the stripping of the flock for the fringe, and I'm just going to wing it with the fringe. So I traced out the scarf, and this is in the pink Carnation flock transfer sheet. And then I'm just gonna kind of wing it with that fringe at the end there of the scarf. So something to keep in mind that I actually honestly didn't really realize or notice, it's not huge, but this is more of a salmony pink than a pink pink. I'm using pink in the rest of the layout. And this is a slightly different shade, but it still works because I've got all kinds of different shades. The transfer sheets, the flock foil sheet, I'm sorry. The foil sheets that I used are really holographic, so they're from the new fairy tale foils, and they kind of have this holographic look. So especially if you look in the pictures, the close-ups that are coming up at the end, you'll see that while it's pink and it's called Enchanted Rose, in the right light it catches some blue and it mirrors and catches some orange, and you can even see that when I'm working, that the blue doesn't look blue and the pink doesn't look pink, depending on how it catches the light. So having the different shades of pink is fine because that foil is not of the same shade anyway. So there I have pretty much used all of the ThermOWeb product, and I've showed you the how-tos of using it. Now I'm going to use those elements to go ahead and construct my layout. So the pattern paper that I'm using here is from Die Cuts with a View. It's something that I got from Tuesday Morning, and I am stash busting here, and I'm going with navy, pink, and that light blue as my color palette. Because this picture is really, really busy, I am just going to convert it to black and white and allow you to get the feel of the photo. So I'm building my snowman. The foam adhesive is sticky backed, so you just pull off a layer, and then you have some adhesive. Because I didn't back the scarf with foam, I am using my Ultra Bond with the not a safety pin, but a pin. I just use uh, a pin that came off of my husband's work shirts when he was wearing work shirts pre-COVID, and that just fits in there perfectly to seal off that nozzle there. And so I've got my snowman placed over my now dry Glitz glitter gel, and I love that tone-on-tone effect there. So now I want to build the left-hand side of the layout, and I have some snowflakes, and I have my Unity card front, which is not a card front, but a backing. And I want just a little bit more pink there. I want another layer behind the photo, again, just to make the photo pop. And so I'm just going to use a bit of this piece of paper that integrates all of the colors that I'm using. It's got the blue and the pink, and it's actually got pink in different shades because it's got that reddy pink in it as well. And you can see the snowflakes. So as I said before, that holographic effect, you don't always see the color as the color that it's labeled. Like there it has a yellowy pink to it. The one at the top kind of has a purpley blue look to it, but yet those are the same colors. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to use some of the blue sky transfer sheet, and again I'm going to back that with the white foam adhesive and run that through my manual die cut machine for the title. I want this title, the word snow of the title, to be flocked as well, and I'm going to mix that in with actually some I believe it's Heidi Swap glitter letters, just to add to that glittery look there. I'm going to do this off camera because I don't have room on my work surface with all of these things here, so you won't see that. But literally, I just ran it through my manual die cut machine as you normally would any other product there. I do run it through twice, sometimes 3 times, so that I make sure that I get a nice clean cut and don't waste any of my product. So again, the white foam adhesive is sticky back, so that's just going to go straight onto the layout there. I want my title there because that's going to pull together the photo on the left-hand side over to the snowman on that bottom right corner. So the direction of movement here is pretty much top left down to bottom right there. And I'm going to have 3 clusters of embellishments that move your eye from the photo to the title to the journaling and then down to that snowman as an embellishment, and that just is the visual triangle that moves your eye around the page there. Now I cut that Unity card front, and you can see how I put the bottom right on the bottom right hand side of the photo, again just for a little bit more layer and a little bit more shimmer, just peeking out of the page there. So I pretty much have the foundation of the layout done, and now it is time to just work on putting a little bit more embellishment. Now, I don't need a lot more embellishment here, really. It would be fine as it is, but I just wanted a little bit more. And so I have all the things. So I decided I'm going to use all the things and do that. So I have that gray label there, and I like to nestle like a subtitle in the labels or a date or something, and so I think I'm going to use that there, but change my mind. Now I want to finish constructing the snowman. So for the eyes of the snowman, I'm just using some raised epoxy dots. I have just used a black marker to put his mouth in. He's going to come together in bits and pieces as I kind of go through all of the embellishments that I pulled out. So this is where I show you, I am using mittens from a sticker pack. And those are actually from my December daily stash. And so you can see the different shades of the pink there. And I'm sorry for the flashing color, but as people move across my room, it changes my lighting. I'm also filming under lights, but it's also natural daylight as well. So I'm going to put down these sequins. These are Spiegelmom scrap sequins for my buttons for my snowman, but you will see me actually pull them up because they're purple. And while I know I have purple that reflects off of those foils, this is just purple. It doesn't go to pink and it doesn't go to blue. I thought it was blue as I was laying it down, but it stands out like an eyesore, so I will pull those off. So these are some of the smaller pink flakes that I cut out as a bulk cut, and I'm scattering them throughout the page. I like the tone on tone, but I also like that those little hints of color that just kind of bring your eye down the page in that snowy winter wonderland there. I have not talked about that large snowflake. So that large snowflake is cut. It is a Tim Holtz die, and it is cut from vellum. It is something that was actually in my stash as I was pulling these things from the Merry Days collection from Crate Paper, that it just happened to be sitting in there, and so I thought, oh, that'll be perfect with my Glitz glitter gel snowflakes. So I wanted something a little more on the left-hand side. I like layers around my photos, and so I've got that house there. It's actually from a tag from the Merry Days collection. Again, Tuesday morning, stash busting. And those epoxies are from Chamel. Again, they're the same colors as what I've used throughout the layout, and they just add a little bit more shimmer and pizzazz to the layout. So I found a home now for this tag. I really like it on the belly of the snowman, but part of the tag is sticking off of the snowman, and so I do have to use some of that foam that I referred to earlier, the Gina K double-sided adhesive foam tape, and that just is the perfect height so that it can sit on top of the snowman and not fall flat to the page once it's under the page protector. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more of these snowflakes throughout the page. I am bothered by my snowman, and I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that at this current moment, which is why I'm going to go ahead and work on some other things, because my snowman needs a hat. His head looks a little cold and needs some warming up, and I also feel like my snowman needs a nose. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle that, but I will. So with this collection, there were some of these 3x4 cards. They're not actually 3x4, they're kind of a random size, and I thought I would cut it out so that I had a little bit more gray in my layout. I think that's what bothered me about this and about the snowman, is I had a lot of gray, that heavy dark gray, on the left hand side of the page, and there was no gray anywhere else in the layout. So I've got that cut snowflake, and then I have that gray in the label, but I still feel like I need another shot of gray, like heavier, more dominant gray, where the snowman is. And so that's why I'm gonna actually, I end up just fussy cutting his hat, or her hat, its hat, out of just gray cardstock, and again mounting it on foam. And I do that off camera because I couldn't figure it out while I was doing this. This is a much longer process video than normal for me, and so I was getting frustrated. It took me a little bit longer to construct this layout than what normally would, and I think some of that is the drying time, as well as I was initially thrown by the colors changing. So these are Zots. These are bling Zots. I like them for adhering sequence. I will go back and forth between using my Ultra Bond and these Zots. But what I've discovered about the Zots that I like is if I'm putting them on a surface that isn't the background cardstock, I prefer, if I'm putting it on the background cardstock, anyway, I prefer the Zots bling, the small ones, because if you were to fold the page, or to not fold the page, but if you were to move the page, not as a unit, it with the liquid adhesive, they tend to pop off. So this is a much more secure way of getting sequins down. So highly recommend Zots Bling. And don't forget, there is a 10% code. It's over at ThermOWeb right now. So just sprinkling some clear sequins using my Zots throughout the page, sprinkled in amongst all of those lovely shimmery snowflakes that I've cut out with my foils, and just creating an effect, a scene really, of the page. So this is the carrot. I'm just going to use some of the scrap that I had from that background piece of pattern paper and give my snowman a lovely little carrot nose. The liquid adhesive on top of the flock is the best way to glue things on top of flock. And my epoxy dot there lost some of its sticky backing, so I just used the liquid adhesive because that's what I had out, but I could have used the Zots Bling as well there. So that is pretty much the layout. I need to finish the title, and again, as I referenced earlier, I'm just going to use some Heidi Swap glittery stickers in that pink, which goes perfectly with the shimmer of my DecoFoil. So I'm just going to journal underneath, and that is a wrap, my friends. So if you have any questions about the product that I've used or how I've used it, please don't hesitate to leave that in the box down below. Enjoy the close-ups, and I hope you are doing well and that you get some snow this winter if that's the season for you. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Take care.